scared of prison?
No, I don't think so.
Why?
Life is too rough. I'll just die on them, then look at the paperwork they'll have.
Flamboyant, irreverent, and a key player in the controversial Whitewater land deal.
James McDougal, President Clinton's former business partner, is dead. Hello and welcome to WorldView. I'm Gene Randall in Washington. President Clinton's former Whitewater business partner, James McDougal, has died in a Texas prison hospital. He was 57. McDougal suffered from heart disease. He was serving a 3-year sentence for fraud and conspiracy stemming from the failed Arkansas land deal. Kathleen Koch is at the White House with a reaction from the Clintons. Kathleen?
Gene, President Clinton and James McDougal go back a long ways. The two men met in the 60s when they were both working for the re-election campaign of then Arkansas Senator J. William Fulbright. Years later, of course, they became partners in the failed Whitewater land deal, and their friendship faded as Ken Starr's investigation into that land deal unfolded. President Clinton learned of McDougal's death shortly before 3 p.m. today, and the White House released this statement from the president. Quote, "I am saddened to learn about James McDougal's death today. I have good memories of the years we worked together in Arkansas, and I extend my condolences to his family." The president, who was at Camp David all weekend, is returning early this evening. The White House says that not due to McDougal's death, but to poor weather. Gene?
Thank you, Kathleen. James McDougal's imprisonment and the incarceration of his ex-wife Susan are reminders of the human toll of the Whitewater affair, as is McDougal's death. CNN's Bob Franken has done extensive reporting on the story. Bob, James Stewart, who wrote Bloodsport, which, as you know, chronicles the roles of the McDougals, says on balance James McDougal was a tragic figure. How will most people remember him in your view?
I think he'll be remembered as a flamboyant figure. He will be remembered as the man who really got the Whitewater investigation underway, the one who went to some political enemies of Bill Clinton and told them his suspicions about Whitewater. A man who was remembered over the years for being defiant, feeling that the investigations against the Whitewater deal were some sort of political vendetta. Of course, Jim McDougal, along with his former wife Susan McDougal and Bill and Hillary Clinton 20 years ago, formed this Whitewater land partnership. McDougal also, subsequent to that, started a Madison Guaranty Savings and Loan, which failed and cost the federal government over $60 million. The underlying charge was that there was some sort of connection. Of course, Whitewater has grown all over the place, but Jim McDougal was the fundamental reason, the person at the core, the epicenter, as the independent counsel Ken Starr put it, of the Whitewater investigation. He had turned. He had been sentenced and got a lenient sentence because President Clinton, because the independent counsel had gotten him to cooperate. At the core of all this was a denial by President Clinton that a man by the name of David Hale and McDougal and Clinton had met to discuss what turned out to be an illegal loan. The president, under oath, denied that. For years, McDougal said it wasn't so, but before his sentencing, he said that, in fact, it was so. This is how he put it when he talked to Larry King.
We were involved in a great deal of lying then on all sides.
You lied on this program.
I lied to you, and for that I apologize. And I lied to the American people through your program by denying vehemently the story that David Hale was telling about a meeting that the president, Mr. Hale, and I had concerning a loan made to Susan McDougal.
Now, that was the story he had been telling independent counsel Ken Starr. Jim McDougal, had very big health problems that he was aware of. He oftentimes said that he might die in prison, and regrettably that turned out to be a prophecy.
Bob, talk about the possible effects of McDougal's death on the Whitewater investigation and the possible ramifications for President Clinton.
Well, first of all, Jim McDougal, who probably gave many sworn statements during his debriefing by the independent counsel, cannot testify against the president. Of course, he's dead now. Nor can the sworn statements be used in trial, because you have a basic fundamental right to face your accuser in the United States when you're on trial. But the information that he provided to the independent counsel investigators could be used as building blocks to find other information against the president and Hillary Rodham Clinton.
And Bob, finally, you talked about this earlier today on the air. We have all been obsessed lately with headlines about Monica Lewinsky. But does James McDougal's death bring back into sharp focus the fact that Ken Starr's mandate is whitewater?
Well, Ken Starr's mandate originally was whitewater. It is important to point out that it was whitewater and all matters that grow out of it. Over the years, a number of matters have grown out of it. By a stretch in some people's minds, it has now grown to the area that is called the Monica Lewinsky saga.
All right, Bob, thanks very much, Bob Franken. One programming note, a special encore presentation of Larry King's interview with James McDougal from last April will air tonight on CNN at 12 a.m. Eastern, midnight, 9 p.m. Pacific.
In Washington Sunday, pundits discussed the possibility of new legal moves against President Clinton. CNN's Kyoko Altman reports indictment may be under consideration by independent counsel Ken Starr.
Richard Nixon left office in 1974 as an unindicted co-conspirator. The Watergate prosecutors couldn't agree at the time, and most scholars have since assumed a sitting president can't be indicted. But sources tell CNN Whitewater independent counsel Ken Starr's office has been researching the possible criminal prosecution of a chief executive. Starr has added a new member to his legal team, Ronald Rotunda, a constitutional law professor who could help him make the case for indictment.
Professor Rotunda's argument is that the Paula Jones Supreme Court decision, which allowed the Paula Jones lawsuit to go forward, said that the judicial branch interfering with the president is not a concern. The president can still function. The Constitution doesn't stop it.
Shortly after the Supreme Court's decision in the Paula Jones case, Rotunda wrote that the civil case can be extended to a criminal one, arguing the Constitution provides no bar to the indictment, trial, and conviction of a sitting president for a federal crime. Rotunda says only imprisoning a president, therefore keeping him from performing his duties, would be unconstitutional. That argument is controversial, even among Starr's defenders.
I have some difficulty bridging a civil case, the fact that the president has to be accountable in a civil case while he's in office, to being holding him accountable for an indictable offense while in office.
As to whether or not you can indict a president and simply leave it there until after he or she is impeached, nobody knows the answer to that question. It's never been addressed by the Supreme Court.
The case for indictment comes at a time when Congress is increasingly reluctant to talk about impeachment, given strong public support for the president.
An impeachment can't possibly proceed in an environment in which there is a partisan split or there is overwhelming sentiment against impeachment proceedings in the nation.
Senate Majority Leader Trent Lott suggested censuring the president instead, but that idea has been dismissed by fellow Republicans.
I don't think a censure resolution would be worth a tinker's dam. I don't think the Congress is in the business of censuring the president.
Well, it's important to remember that while indicting the president may be theoretically possible, so far Ken Starr hasn't said whether he has any evidence to support charges against Mr. Clinton. Kyoko Altman, CNN, Washington.
There is new drama building this weekend in the case of British au pair Louise Woodward.
Coming up on WorldView, Massachusetts' highest court is poised to weigh in on the judge's decision that set Woodward free.
And how about a private tour of the Titanic? It's possible, but it will cost you. Details when WorldView continues.
I like being in control. With this Generex, I control the cause of my dandruff every day.
Denerex Advanced Formulas medicine doesn't just treat the symptoms. It controls a leading cause of dandruff called P.O. Valley.
Now that's serious control.
Denerex Advanced Formula.
This is what your house feels like on the new Coldwell Banker Real Estate website. It attracts lots of attention, so your home can be seen by thousands of buyers every day until it's sold. Online, on the phone, or in person, Coldwell Banker, making real estate real easy.
There's a new world of commerce on the internet. Leading banks worldwide, every major credit card, thousands of merchants and millions of consumers are all playing their part. And one company is bringing them all together, providing the most advanced set-enabled internet payment solution in the world. We're making global business on the web a reality. Cybercash, the way to make internet commerce pay.
never learned. Every new concept we've pioneered. Every breakthrough idea we've made even better. The best of our past reflected in the brightest of today. At the Chrysler Corporation, it's how we build great cars and great trucks.
Tonight on CNN Perspectives, extraordinary individuals determined to redefine the roles of women, revolutionaries in the fight for equal rights, justice for all. CNN Perspectives, tonight on CNN.
I'm watching you, CNN.
The next round of legal maneuvering in the case of British au pair Louise Woodward is scheduled to begin Monday morning. The Massachusetts Supreme Judicial Court will hear appeals from both sides in the case. Prosecutors will argue to reverse Judge Hiller Zobel's decision downgrading Woodward's conviction from murder to manslaughter in the death of an 8-month-old baby in her care. Defense attorneys want the conviction thrown out. A fire on Friday delayed the opening of the hearing. CNN will provide live coverage of the Woodward hearing Monday starting at 9 a.m. Eastern Time.
Now turning to the troubles in Serbia's Kosovo province. Serbian police say their 4-day crackdown on Albanian separatists is over, but what is still going on there suggests otherwise. Police Sunday took reporters and diplomats on a tour of the targeted villages where at least 46 ethnic Albanians and 6 Serb policemen were killed. CNN's Nick Robertson was on that tour and has this report.
Police took journalists Sunday to see Donji Prekaza, a small village at the center of their latest offensive against what they call terrorists in Serbia's southern province, Kosovo. Spent shells littered the ground and buildings showed the signs of artillery attack. Over half the houses were destroyed in the tiny hamlet. In one, washing still hanging on the line, stark testimony to the speed with which its inhabitants must have fled. Despite claims by the authorities that the offensive is over, hundreds of battle-ready police lined roads, sat in ditches and manned checkpoints over a large area. Nowhere in that containment zone are people to be seen. Aid agencies allowed into a neighboring town of 10,000 also saw no one in the streets and found doctors were unable to visit their patients. Food, they said, was beginning to run out as deliveries could not get through. In villages outside the police operation, anger runs high. Gaush Berisha, an ethnic Albanian high school teacher, lost 3 pupils from the same family in fighting a week ago. He says Serbs and Albanians can no longer live together. And in Pristina, capital of the province, thousands of women gathered, waving white paper in the air as a symbol of peace. Watched over by riot police, they crowded in front of the United States Information Office, hoping their message would reach the world.
We want peace. We want not to kill our innocent kids, our innocent people. We are not terrorists. We want peace and we want freedom.
We want you, NATO. Where is NATO?
With Albanian expectations so high here for outside help in the crisis, international debate over the coming days will be closely watched. Analysts fear, however, that their expectations may exceed what the international community will give. Nick Robertson, CNN, Pristina.
On the diplomatic front, U.S. Secretary of State Madeleine Albright held talks on the Kosovo fighting this weekend with officials in Germany and France. Those meetings come on the eve of an international conference in London on the matter. Albright is trying to round up support for decisive action to stop the Serb-led violence in the Kosovo province.
The time to stop the killing is now, before it spreads. The way to do that is to take immediate action against the regime in Belgrade to ensure that it pays a price for the damage it has already done and to encourage it to finally resolve the problems in Kosovo through dialogue and reconciliation.
The U.S. and its allies are concerned that the violence in Kosovo could spread to other parts of the Balkans.
The State Department confirms there was a possible security breach down the hall from the Secretary of State's office. Time magazine reports that in February, while officials were dealing with the crisis with Iraq, an unauthorized man walked into the office and loaded highly classified documents into a briefcase. The FBI has launched a full-scale investigation, but so far, there are no answers.
It could have been misfiled. It could have been stuck in a drawer in the basement of the State Department, for all we know. It could have been sold to a foreign power. The FBI is proceeding with a full field investigation. They must assume the worst, that it could have been sold to a foreign power, and they've been conducting that investigation for approximately a month, and so far they don't have the answer.
Time says law enforcement officials are very upset that security measures were apparently so easily defeated.
Dangerous weather is once again taking a deadly toll across the United States. Storms and flooding in southern Alabama have now killed at least 5 people and forced thousands of residents to evacuate the town of Elba. Severe thunderstorms have caused flooding across Mississippi and Florida. Some areas have gotten as much as 10 inches of rain in the past 24 hours. Snowstorms are making traveling difficult in the Plains states. Meanwhile, parts of Nebraska got more than a foot of snow. Forecasters are warning people to stay off the roads if possible. And in Laguna Beach, California, a family barely escaped their home Sunday before a mudslide sent their home plunging into a canyon. Fortunately, no one was hurt. Damage was the latest since El Nino-driven rains destabilized hillsides throughout California. And now let's get a check of the weekend weather with Byron Miranda, who is standing by in the Weather Center. Byron.
Laura, we have been watching this storm for the last 48 hours. Blizzard conditions through the midsection of the U.S. where the snow is flying from Wisconsin through the Central Plains. More than a foot of snow has fallen through Des Moines, Iowa. The roads have closed here. Windy conditions, wind gusts up to 40 miles per hour behind this system where the area of low pressure is. Ahead of this system where the front is, the severe weather, the thunderstorm, the spring-like weather continues through the southeast. You see a lot of yellow lights on this radar summary map through Georgia into Alabama through the Florida Panhandle. There have been a number of watch boxes through the day from the southeast across the Florida Panhandle now into the Carolinas. Let's take a look at the boxes. There's a red box right there through the Carolinas, another one through the southern section of Georgia as well as into Alabama, northern section of Florida. Basically what these boxes mean, you have the potential for seeing some high winds, heavy rain, thunderstorms, and tornadoes through that region. Monday morning shaping up like this. The tail end of this frontal system will progress off the eastern coast. With that, some clearing will take place, but the morning hours, you'll still see some showers into Georgia through Florida, up towards the cooler air. Over the next 24 hours, precipitation-wise, you're going to see the orange pop up on this map. When we see the deep colors on this map, it indicates to us that you're going to see a lot of precipitation. Where the warm air is already in place, ahead of this frontal system, you're going to see heavy rain, 1 to 4 inches possible. Flooding will occur from the mid-Atlantic towards the northeast. Behind it, where the cool air is in place and more cool air is coming in with another frontal system, snow, Chicago, heavy snow possible, into Cleveland by the afternoon hours. So it is shaping up to be a big mess. Close-up look during the morning hours across the southeast towards the northeast. I've put the isobars up on this map, basically telling you when you see them closely packed together. Look how tightly packed they are together. That means very windy conditions from the northeast through the southeast. Just all of the eastern third of the nation is going to get wet. Chicago will see the snow, as I said, Monday morning, Monday afternoon, the Ohio Valley. Look at the snow filter in behind that frontal system with the cool air coming down. More news will continue after the break.
Only one retriever can hunt for houses. The new personal retriever from Coldwell Banker Online searches daily for homes matching your profile and brings them to your email. Tell it what you want. It'll go fetch. Coldwell Banker, making real estate real easy.
Before you do business on the internet, you've got to make payments safe. That's where CyberCash comes in. Our proven SET-enabled system makes accepting internet payments simple and secure. We work with leading banks, every major credit card, and more merchants worldwide than any other payment solution today. CyberCash, the way to make internet commerce pay.
A cold medicine can't work if your child won't take it.
And they're off. Timmy rounds the first corner, down the banister. Looks like Mom is closing in, but no. Timmy clears the hurdle. Down the stretch, Timmy bolts for the door. But wait, Mom reads the Dymatap Elixir.
Kids will love that big grape Dymatap taste. Pediatricians like the way it works. It's their #1 choice.
Wow, great.
Dymatap, even the taste is a relief. And for your baby's cold, try Dymatap decongestant drops.
What is a Roth IRA? Should I have one? How do I figure out all this new IRA stuff?
At Strong Funds, we make it simple. Start with our free Roth IRA Analyzer Disc. It'll help answer your IRA questions. And consider the Strong Schaefer Value Fund. With performance like this, it may be a smart choice for your IRA. Call us today at 1-800-4STRONG for your free disc or for fund information. And open a Roth IRA before April 15th, and we'll waive IRA fees for life.
Monday, a CNN live event. The case of Louise Woodward, the British au pair whose conviction was overturned and is now being appealed. Watch the hearing live, Monday, 9 Eastern, on CNN.
Civil rights veterans walked the Selma Road again on Sunday, 33 years after a voting rights march there turned bloody. It was a time of reflection on that day in 1965 when television cameras caught Alabama state troopers as they bludgeoned unarmed marchers. The images of violence and suffering galvanized support for the Voting Rights Act, passed by Congress less than 5 months later. Time magazine celebrated its 75th anniversary last week. It hosted close to 100 people who have made the Time cover over the years. Time executive editor John Stacks shares his reflections tonight in a special edition of the CNN News magazine, Impact. Here's a preview.
Jeff, John Stacks from Time. Very glad to meet you.
Parkinson's disease has robbed him of speech, but Muhammad Ali is still the greatest. I wasn't the only one who thought so.
And Muhammad Ali gave me a kiss.
Well, you're doing pretty well, I would say.
Not bad.
I was struck by the diversity. Diplomats, entertainers, business leaders, scientists, journalists, generals, all in one room. Lauren Bacall and Louis Farrakhan.
Very honored. Thank you very much.
Jerry Falwell talking to Joe DiMaggio.
We had 6 potential Hall of Famers.
I wanted to talk to DiMaggio, too. He was on the cover twice.
Because I was taking a lot of pictures for different magazines, and Time to me was, well, I did read it quite a bit, but I just felt like it was just another magazine at that time. But I know what it's worth today.
Right.
Well, the magazine was younger then, too. But being on the cover of Time usually means something.
Did that cover make any difference to you one way or another, or was it?
Well, the horror of being a Time cover subject is that after a week it goes away.
Impact airs tonight and Monday night at 10 p.m. Eastern Time.
Still ahead on WorldView, it's the other Iditarod, the one without the snow. Stay with us.
When was the last time you saw the world and felt that it, for once, revolved around you? When was the last time you watched an eagle fish for salmon, rode a Gladstone train, or saw a bear from your balcony? And when was the last time you witnessed Mother Nature recreating herself? Holland America Line. It's time.
It is a place where the finest is appreciated in private. Because when one has truly arrived, there is no need to announce it. Park Avenue by Buick, the power of understatement.
We look at the home. We see the world. When is information an invasion? The New York Times announces Circuits, a new section every Thursday for technophiles and technophobes. Once we go forward, can we ever go back? The New York Times. Expect the world.
Tonight on Impact, meet the people who shaped our world, who were center stage in some of the biggest stories of our century.
People are the driving force of history.
Time turns 75. A special Impact tonight, 10 Eastern on CNN.
It began as a mysterious event in the South Pacific, creating devastating weather patterns throughout the world. Joey Chen, Jim Moret, and CNN's team of correspondents report on the disastrous effects of troubled waters. Tonight, 9 Eastern on CNN.
Titanic shows no sign of sinking at the box office. The movie was #1 again at theaters this weekend and is closing in on the all-time North America box office record. Titanic has been #1 for 12 weeks and could soon eclipse Star Wars for the throne. Meanwhile, Titanic director James Cameron has been named the best director of a feature film by the Directors Guild of America. One of Cameron's inspirations was the trip to the bottom of the North Atlantic to see the Titanic wreckage. And you can do that too, but at a price. CNN's Ian Ferguson reports.
Got a spare $33,000? Fancy a holiday that's just a little different? Well, why not spend some time at the bottom of the Atlantic, visiting the wreck of the Titanic? The holidays involve flights to Newfoundland and a sea trip to a mothership anchored above the wreck about 600 kilometres off the coast. 2 mini-subs will make daily descents from the mothership, carrying small groups of travellers on a 5-hour round-trip voyage. The neo-subs were used to film the liner for a 1991 film about the disaster and for the latest Hollywood blockbuster, directed by Briton James Cameron. And the success of Titanic is obviously a factor.
Have we moved it forward because of the potential publicity that's come out from the movie? Yes, of course. I mean, if I were to tell you no, you must think I'm totally nuts.
The deep dive subs will circulate the wreck for a photographic session, but there'll be no physical contact with the liner, on which more than 1,500 people died. But promoters have deflected claims that they're desecrating a tomb.
It is a gravesite, so is every other wreck in the world. We will respect the gravesites. We're purely looking. And unless I'm mistaken, every cemetery in London is open to the public.
The ill-fated White Star liner lies in darkness, more than 4,000 metres beneath the surface. The Titanic claimed to be unsinkable, but went down after hitting an iceberg in April of 1912. Ian Ferguson, CNN, London.
Money Week is up next, and here's a glimpse of what's on tap.
An upbeat ending to a week of big swings, both up and down. We'll take a look at what caused the market gyration.
And an interview with fund manager Frank Cappiello and where he sees growth ahead. Next on Money Week.
And stay with CNN for the World Today, which begins in about 30 minutes. A talking head you won't see on the Sunday TV talk shows. The World Today begins at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. And that's WorldView. I'm Gene Randall in Washington. Have a great week. Good night, Lori.
Good night, Gene. I'm Lori Dew at the CNN Center in Atlanta. Thank you for joining us. The 26th Iditarod Trail Sled Dog Race is underway in Alaska. But in another city that is known for doing things very differently, they have their own version of the race. And we leave you with footage from San Francisco and the Bay Area Mushers.
Closed captioning is brought to you by Bell Atlantic, your guide through the wiles of communications.
On this morning's show, we'll put your favorite deodorant to the test.
And the pitfalls of French toast.
But first, squirrels, woodchucks, and groundhogs, the grim realities of suburban living.
Looking for news in your morning news?
The breath mint. Is it the key to a more successful love life?
Watch Donna Kelly and Leon Harris with the latest news, straight out of the newsroom on CNN's Early Edition. More news, less talk.
Coming up, America's love affair with the corn dog.
Tonight, meet the people who shaped our world and played a role in the biggest stories of the century. Time turns 75. A special impact tonight.
It's like a lot of fantasy role-playing nonsense.
From the director of Seven.
You want to know what it is?
It's a game.
They won't stop, Nick. Who are they? I paid them more to make them stop.
The object of the game.
So what are they gonna do?
Is to discover.
Get away from the window.
The object of the game. Michael Douglas, Sean Penn.
Who did this to me?
The game.
Who hired you?
Rated R.
Where can you get 12 months free financing with no money down and no interest for an entire year? At any Electronic Express. The savings are huge at Electronic Express. Right now, you'll find great deals like these. A sharp 25-inch color TV with remote, just $229. A Sony camcorder with color viewfinder and 26:1 zoom, only $399. Or a Pioneer 25-disc home CD changer for just $129. Don't miss big savings and 12 months free financing right now at any Electronic Express location.
This is CNN.
Mild spring weather fails to match the mood of investors as earnings warnings